Frank J. Avella with the Contending. Dead Outlaw is the best new musical of the season, in my humble opinion, and I am so happy to have Tony nominee Julia Knitel here today. Welcome, Julia.
Hi. Hi, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, and congratulations on the Tony nomination.
Oh, thank you. It's so surreal. I still haven't gotten over it.
I can only imagine this is like a whole whirlwind time, isn't it?
Yeah, nobody prepares you. I feel like it's kind of like having a baby, but everyone prepares you for having a baby, and no one tells you how hard getting nominated for a Tony is. And not that it's, hard, but it's just very overwhelming and all your dreams are coming true and you're just sort of trying to soak it all up and stay grounded and then also do your show 8 shows a week.
Yeah, that's got to be the difficult part. My God. Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say it must feel like deja vu since the show was nominated for a slew of awards last year off Broadway.
Mhm.
You got an Outer Critics Circle nomination, and now a year later, you guys are kind of really in it.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I actually think we benefited from getting all of those nominations last year because our schedule in many ways is a little lighter than some of the shows that are getting nominated for both their production that wasn't off Broadway last year. They get them all at once. So it's a little more intense. I think we have a gift in that way. Got some of those out of the way already.
I love it. Okay, well, it's a
Yeah.
really strong season. Have you had a chance to see? I mean, you only have one day off, but have you had a chance to see anything?
Because we started pretty late, we didn't start rehearsals until March. I was able to see a few things, and the season, it's so strong. It feels like Broadway is really back at full force this year, and it's just so many wonderful performances, so many great shows, new and revivals. It's extraordinary.
It really is. I said in a piece I was writing, I feel like it's another golden age because you kind of have to reach back to the 60s and 70s with so many strong musical and play possibilities.
I completely agree. That's what it feels like. It's a new golden age, and I think we benefit from, it's been 5 years since the shutdown, and the audiences are coming back in full force. Those shows that maybe were incubating in the 20s, they are now getting to really blossom, and it's so cool to be a part of such a strong season.
Very much so. So, the obligatory question is, how did you first become involved with this incredible musical?
Oh, I got an email from my agent for an appointment for the untitled David Yazbek musical. And it was so intimidating because they are just the dream team. Like everybody wants to work with David Yazbek, David Cromer, Itamar Moses, and now Eric Della Penna. And I read the script. And when I finished it, I said, well, that's the best musical I've ever read. And I listened to the songs and I said, well, this is the best score I've ever heard. And I really wanted to be a part of it. And I auditioned for it. I think I only had two auditions. In the first one, I did all of the Maggie material, who's the early character I play, Elmer's fiance. And then in the callback, I worked on Millicent with them, who's the little girl who ages throughout her little story arc in part two. And I left and was like, if I don't book this, I'm going to be so devastated, which
Mm.
you can't get attached. But I did. And luckily, I was okay. They wanted me to be a part of it. And then I got to do a 2 week workshop in the fall. And then that spring, we did it off Broadway. And now here we are a year later.
It's really amazing because I saw it off Broadway at Minetta Lane, and I was blown away. You go in not sure what you're going to see, and then this is outrageous story told in such a beautiful way because in one manner it pokes fun at everything, including Elmer, but on the other hand, it also pays homage. Really, I think it really does him justice too.
I completely agree. And I think that is exemplified in the fact that people are going to his grave in Oklahoma and leaving our playbill. It's like we aren't making him the butt of any joke. And I actually think what our team did so brilliantly, David Yazbek in writing it, and David Cromer in directing it, and Idamar in the words that we get to say, we really we ride the fine line of humor and humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so important when you're telling a real story, a true story, and doing so in a really groundbreaking and unconventional way.
When did the buzz start when you guys were at Minetta that you might be coming to Broadway?
You know, there was this moment at the opening night party where I had never experienced anything like this because I had never been in a critic's pick before. This was my first. And there was this moment where as soon as the reviews came in, the entire party, like all the important people at the party, like the PR people and the producers and David Cromer, everyone just like shifted.
Hmm.
And the energy went, oh, it's a hit. And I think from that moment, I gotta say, like, to be completely candid, as soon as I read the script and heard the music, I knew this had the potential to be a show that would change my life if I was a part of it.
Hmm.
I could just feel it in my bones. And that moment at the opening party off Broadway was the first moment where it was like we locked in, and then the buzz started coming, and the producers, the producers started coming to see us off Broadway and deciding if they wanted to bring us. And I know that's when Leah and Sonia came, and that's when they decided to bring us to Broadway, but we had to wait a while.
You guys did, yeah, an entire year.
A whole
Uh,
year, yeah.
so each night you get to seamlessly, and I think it's seamless, switch from Maggie to Mom to Millicent. Tell me about the headspace that it takes to actually do that.
I have some experience with multi-character roles and multi-character shows, and something that I'm really comfortable in. I just find it really exciting and easy, and really rewarding to do. So I find that especially with this show, so many of the characters that I play are just weird little pockets and corners of me. And I get to just sort of like visit them and play that part for a while, and then visit over here and play that part for a while. And so I find that the best way to get in the good headspace for that is just to center myself and to be really like grounded and ready as this is so corny and like sounds like such an actory answer, but like to be a vessel for these characters to come through. And so I find that I spend half hour like grounding myself and just like getting neutral. And then, starting with Helen, entering Maggie, being the cowboy, and
Yeah.
and then of course Millicent. So it's a lot of fun.
And you're the only female cast member. Is that daunting or is it fun or is it a combination?
Oh, it's not daunting to me at all. I love it. I love my boys. I feel so I it's a question I get asked a lot now, and it's never something that I think about really because we're all just so close, and I just feel like I'm in a band of brothers, and they have definitely welcomed me as a brother even though I have to wear high heels and makeup. They let me right in, and we're all really protective and loving with each other. And it's just the energy in the building from all the way to the top to every person backstage, like we're all just so on the same page, and we love this show, and it's a really wonderful community to be a part of.
And one of the things the show does so magnificently is it gives us little pocket scenes, but we're told so much. And to me, Normal is a great
Mm,
example of that. It's actually, I think it's a gorgeous, probably my favorite song in the show. And we just get a small glimpse, but just enough of what that relationship was and what it could have been.
I know it breaks my heart every night, and this is something that you know part of being an actor is staying in the moment and going on the journey in real time every night. And I find that that song is so easy for me to access because we live in the beauty of it. We live in the simplicity of it. We live in how just two fingertips touching can tell so much story.
Yeah.
And I always every single night get my heart broken right at the end of that song because I forget that he's going to leave. I do.
Yeah.
I get so wrapped up in it, and it's so pure, and I love doing that number every night.
It's funny, not to go off too much on it, but like, I've always been a believer that there's no such thing as normal. And we kind of force people into wanting to be normal, whatever the hell that is. And I was thinking last night, because I saw it again last night, and I was thinking, wow, if maybe we had allowed Elmer to figure out who he was and not try to box him into some kind of normalcy, he would not have gone off
Mhm.
the deep end.
I completely agree. And I also think something I think a lot about with Elmer is that he didn't have the tools. Like we can understand our childhood trauma because we have, the therapy of the century that we're in, and he did not. And so I think if he had some more coping mechanisms and some tools and some access, I think he could have lived such a different life.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And I think that's part of the tragedy and also the joy of the show.
Agreed.
I keep listening to A Stranger over and over again.
Oh, do you?
I do. It's such a haunting song, and you do such a beautiful job with it.
Thank you. It really feels like a gift. The first time I heard that song, it again, you can't get attached to things early on, but it felt like mine. It felt like it was in there somewhere inside of me. And David Yazbek and Eric De La Pena handed it to me and said, "Were you looking for this?"
Oh.
And it's special. I love it so much.
And then there's Millicent's song, and God, what an amazing, I mean, she comes of age in an entire song. She starts at 10 and she has this bonding with a corpse, but it's again so beautiful.
So heartwarming. I know. It's interesting. I just it was hard to find Millicent early on, especially off Broadway. I remember sitting with David Cromer and our choreographer Ani Taj, and just like we couldn't figure out the tone, we couldn't figure out the center, we couldn't figure out how to do this and not make it too weird or too creepy or too saccharine or too, too anything. And it took a lot of trial and error and a lot of work to get to the place that we now have her, and it feels so right. And I think it's a testament to the work that we all did that people really connect with her. And I think in a story with very universal themes, life, death, love, loss, Millicent's song is sort of it boils down to this center that we all experience, and it's our inner child. And everyone had a bully. Everybody had a first crush.
Yeah.
Most of us left home for the first time, and it just is this. I don't know how long it is, maybe 4 minutes of really universal experience done in a really touching and beautiful musically and visually way. And I feel again, it feels like such a gift.
Mm. I want to ask you about Andrew because you guys have such great chemistry in
Mm.
all your scenes, including the scenes where he's has to remain still, which is
Yeah.
astonishing. I keep looking over to watch him to see if he blinks, and he doesn't. I don't know how he does it.
He's a miracle. He is singular, and I truly I don't think people even understand how hard what he's doing is. It's remarkable.
Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's been 7 years since you've been on Broadway. I wanted to ask about. I read that you at 16
Yeah.
left high school to audition and got Bye Bye Birdie. Can you tell me a
So
little bit about that?
yeah, that was a crazy thing. I was not a kid actor at all. I was doing community theater. My parents have a community theater in New Jersey, so I grew up doing a lot of like really nice, unprofessional theater. And when I was 16, I was doing Millie and Thoroughly Modern Millie at my high school. And somehow, some way, someone sent to my theater teacher, like, oh, there's an open call for Bye Bye Birdie, and they're looking for real kids. And I asked my parents if I could go. And I kind of thought they were going to say no, but they said yes. And my dad drove me into the city. We were up at 4 in the morning, wrapped around the block for this cattle call.
Hmm.
And I ended up getting the job, which was insane. And I don't think any of us were expecting. But yeah, I dropped out of high school. I made my Broadway debut. I was the dance captain, and I had the time of my life. And then I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the industry since that time. It did take like a small, I don't want to call it a break, but from like 16 to 18, I had a hard time booking. Like
Hmm.
I was underage and I was 5'10", and I didn't look like a kid and I didn't look like a woman. And so I found myself in this weird in between, and I was getting down to the last two for like every show,
Hmm.
American Idiot, Pippin. the Hair, like all of these shows that were on Broadway at that time, and it was just not happening for me. And I realized that I needed better acting training. I listened to myself and I was like, okay, that's the thing that feels like it's the least solidified. So I found a school, the BFA acting program that could take me with a GED, and I did 2 years there before dropping out again to do Beautiful on Broadway.
That's amazing. Absolutely. What part of New
Yeah.
Jersey, by the way?
Fair Lawn, Bergen County.
You're kidding me. I'm in
Where are you?
Garfield.
Oh my God, neighbor.
Yeah, not just that, but my husband taught high school at Fairlawn High School. You didn't go to
Wait,
Fairlawn High, did you?
I did for 2 years. Who's your husband?
Henry Van Coy,
What did he
history,
teach?
sociology, Holocaust genocide. He-
No, I
wa-
didn't. I mean, I was only
Wow.
there for 2 years, but that's crazy. Mr. Van Coy.
Yeah, that wow. Yeah, this blows
That's
my mind.
crazy.
Yeah, Fairlawn is I mean there's so many different amazing talent that's come out of Fairlawn High.
Yeah, and I mean, our shows at the high school shows were just, I mean, award winning.
Yeah.
I won the Rising Star for my performance as Millie.
Oh my God. And you were directed
Yeah,
by
John Geraci.
Teresi was just at my Oscar party in March.
Stop it! Oh
Yes.
my God!
This is really weird. And okay, after this is over, we'll chat for a couple seconds. Uh,
That's so funny. Yes, please.
oh, this is
Small
amazing.
world.
Yeah, it really is. So when did you know you wanted to be on stage? Was it something you always felt?
Yeah, I was born into it. My parents, while also running a community theater company, were professional actors before I was born. And so my mom, my first performance was in utero as the child inside of a pregnant Maria von Trapp.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah. So I mean, I was always like, I played baby Jesus in the Passion play. Like I was just like, from the time I was on this earth, I was on a stage. And so it's always been the dream. And I never doubted that I could do it professionally until I was doing it professionally. And then I
That's
started, then that's when the imposter syndrome kicks in. But
well,
yeah.
and you're part of the LGBTQ community, which
Hmm.
is amazing. And
Yeah.
I was talking to Taylor Trench about how when journalists speak to queer people, they always have to bring, queerness up somehow, whereas we do not do it with people who we assume are straight. So my question
Yes.
isn't going to be about that. It's going to be about, do you feel like we're telling enough queer stories
Mm.
on and off Broadway? Because I don't.
I mean, I think there's never enough queer story in the world. Like I think we need many, 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 many more. I've been fortunate in my career to get to tell a lot of queer stories. I was cast as a queer person before I came into my queerness, which I think is a testament to great casting and actually that one particular show helped me kind of unearth my true self. And yeah, I think we always need more. I think marginalized voices need to be amplified at a higher volume than non-marginalized voices just to compensate for the fact that they are marginalized. And so anytime that I have the opportunity to shed light on a marginalized story, a queer story, I take that opportunity and with both hands. And I often find that many many times when a queer story comes across my desk and I'm given an opportunity, it's not the big Broadway show. It's not the the production contract work tier two workshop where you're going to get paid a lot of money. It's the can you do this for $50?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I always say yeah, and I don't cash the check. So it's like I try to use my voice whenever possible to amplify.
Wow.
Good
Amen to that.
question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And my last question to you is, who inspires you the most?
Mm. Oh man, I have a long list. The first person who comes to mind, I have a lot of like just actors that I look to and I go, oh, you're doing exactly what I hope to do one day. And those are Mary Louise Parker, Laurie Metcalf, um, I mean, obviously Meryl Streep, that's a given. And then on the stage, I've watched Sutton Foster's career my whole life, and she's an inspiration to me. I Audra McDonald, I got to meet at a Tony event, and I almost passed out. I really am drawn to performers who lead with their acting ability and who use their voices with integrity and who do projects that are maybe challenging and divisive and not for everyone. I'm drawn to the kind of work that challenges both actor and audience, and I think the women I mentioned are as well.
Absolutely. And you're in their company. So
Oh, thank you. That's high praise.
congratulations. Thanks for spending the time. And in Italian, we say merda instead of
Oh,
break a leg. So I'm going to wish you merda.
grazie.
There you go. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you.